Hey everyone, welcome to the Wing Magma Podcast, a podcast where I discuss all the music that I'm involved in, from music I'm playing, music I'm writing, music I'm listening to, and music that I talk to my friends about. It's been a while since I've done one of these. I tried to get the podcast going again probably around 6-7 months ago, and it didn't work, largely because I'm flaky, and sometimes I get inspired to do this, and sometimes I put it down and I do other things. I do really want to get back into it, and now seems like a really good time to get back into it because I'm very involved in lots of different musical outputs. So I'm back in Bronze Age. Bronze Age is a thing. We have played 2 shows now, and we're writing new music, and it's all going very, very well. I am in my covers band, A Volcano. That's going really, really well. We've got lots of gigs lined up. We've done quite a few gigs over the last year, so I'll be talking about the songs that we're playing and the gigs that we've got coming up on this podcast. And, you know, the whole point of the podcast was about the music that I'm writing under the pseudonym. It's not a pseudonym, is it? It's not first name Wing, last name Magma. Under the guise of Wing Magma, the music that I'm writing. I'm back doing it. So I've had, over the last month or so, I've just kind of been quite inspired to pick that up again and to put more emphasis on that. For a few reasons, and the main reason is a book that I read, which was recommended by Joe Jakes, and the book is called How to Write One Song by Jeff Tweedy. I can't recommend this book enough. It's not a particularly long book, but what it goes into is Jeff Tweedy. I don't even know who Jeff Tweedy is. I don't know who he plays for or anything like that. I'm pretty sure he mentions it in the book, but I wasn't a fan of Jeff's or anything like that. So for me, I'm fascinated by people's songwriting process, largely because I haven't got one, or I certainly didn't have one before reading the book. And I love to learn about how other people do it so that I can pinch bits and try and build my own process. Now, this guy's process was very unique to him, but he's got all of these different ways of writing lyrics, how he processes his ideas, and just going through his book, I picked up a number of things which has led me to play a lot more, and as a result, I've got a few more songs kicking about. Some of which you may have heard on my Instagram feed. So I've started to just put out a few ideas in whatever form they're in, rather than trying to hone them and perfect them. I'm sure I'm no different from a lot of people. I record a lot of ideas onto my phone as and when I have them, and I don't really know what to do with them after that. I come up with the ideas. Sometimes they turn into, Bronze Age songs or whatever, but 99% of them just live on my phone and nothing much comes from them. So I've probably got enough content to kick one of those out every day for the next 6,000 to 8,000 years. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to try and keep on top of it. I'm going to try and put one out every day. I've got into a pretty decent rhythm of it for the last 9 days, and that's good going for me. So I'm going to try and keep that going. And yeah, just wanted to start the process again. I've got another podcast booked in where I'm going to be discussing a book that I bought last year and I started going through, and it's called 1001 Albums You Must Hear Before You Die. It's been a very, very interesting process. I'm currently so it starts around 1957, and then I've been listening to every album in the book in order, no skipping. I'm currently in about 1967 or so. The podcast that I've got booked in is with a guy called Alex Warwick. He is one of our creative directors at Eiffel Presentations, where I work. and he got a few of us into this book, and he completed it. He did cover to cover, and I think it took him about 2.5 years. I remember when I got the book, I thought, I'm going to try and do this quicker than that, but don't think I've even got 100 albums under my belt in my first year and a bit of doing it. So it's quite a commitment, but a fascinating one at the same time. So I'm going to be discussing that with him on the next episode of the podcast. I'm also going to be talking about albums with a few different people. So a couple of good friends of mine, Tom Eve and Tim Carter, we have threatened to do a podcast where we pick an album and we discuss it for quite some time. I'd like to get that going. And, and I'll open the floor to anyone that has an album that they love, that they want to discuss. Maybe an album that you can recommend to me. I'll listen to it and then we can have a chat and create a podcast out of it. So there's lots of different themes of podcasts that I'm going to be doing. I've not decided whether I'm going to continue doing the playlist, the Wednesday Wang, because that essentially became the nuts and bolts of the podcast the first time round. I had a good time. I learned a lot. I've listened to a lot of new music, but I'd like this to be more focused on the music that I'm writing. So with that in mind, the main reason that I've picked this all back up is I found a folder. I've got a Google Drive and I've got lots of folders with songs and ideas, and I collated a bunch of them. There's probably about 20 either finished songs or nearly finished songs, and I want to do something with them. They're not going to be Bronze Age songs because it's a little bit overbearing to kind of bring a whole song to that band. We've got 4 songwriters there and we all contribute to it. So I'll bring ideas to Bronze Age and we'll work on them together. But rather than saying, right, you play this, you play this, you play this, shut up, do as you're told, stop whinging, which I usually do. And then I'm just going to work on them myself and put them out under Wing Magma. So I've got all of these ideas. I started working on them, and as I started to work on them, just new ideas came out. And I've got a little setup now in my garage, and there's just I found a little pocket of time where, the kids are in bed and I can just go in there and write some music. And as such, probably 2 or 3 new ideas have sprung from that. And based on the reading that I've done of the Jeff Tweedy book, I've kind of forced myself a little bit more to write lyrics. And the thing is with lyrics and me is that I struggle to write about things. I don't really have a political agenda. I haven't got incredibly rich stories to tell or anything like that. But I do write lyrics from time to time, and I don't always understand what they mean. So, and that makes for good lyrics. So I've rather than try and build a meaning into what I write, I just write the lyrics down and I use them, and people can piece their own meanings together. And I always quite enjoyed that about like Nirvana lyrics. There was songs where they wrote about things, but more often than not, Kurt Cobain would write and you would fill in your own gaps, and I enjoy that as a listener, and I'm sure it would make for interesting songs as well. So one of the processes that Jeff Tweedy covers is free association writing. So for anyone that doesn't know what that is, it's literally just putting pen to paper and writing whatever comes out. And I've gone through a phase of just writing a page every day. Most of it, the majority of it makes no sense and can't be formed into lyrics. But what I have found is when I'm in the garage and I've got some loops going, I'll just have a little flick through, and every now and then a line will just scream out or pop out or whatever, and I can turn that into a lyric. And like I said, it doesn't have to have a meaning. you can attach meaning to it. And it's just been a really interesting way of doing things, so where I would usually, get to a certain point with the song, put my guitar down and leave, I'll make sure that there's a vocal idea there. And off the back of that, I'm then going through and editing and piecing songs together. So I think certainly the style of music is going to be very, very different from Memory Holes. Memory Holes was a very well produced song. This is going to be more lo-fi, what I'm doing now, because I want it to reflect what I'm actually doing. In terms of, it is just me in my garage. I've got a little tiny practice amp that I mic up, and I want that kind of rough around the edges lo-fi quality to it, because that's what I do. And I think I felt a little uncomfortable with Memory Holes in hindsight, and certainly there was another song that I worked on with Dave Tidmarsh, and I didn't like where it was going. Nothing against Dave. Dave's a fantastic guy and a fantastic producer. It just didn't sit well with me, and what I want to do with this, which is just, bedroom / garage recordings of my stuff. So that's what's in the post. I will continue to share those kind of little clips on a daily basis, but my intention this year is to release an album, and there's no reason why I can't do that. I've got enough material to do it. I've got a format that is working for me, and I found the time in my schedule, I guess, to kind of fit music in, because work's kicking off at the moment, or has been for the last couple of years. There's 3 children now, and it kind of eats into music. Music just comes down the priority list, but it's something that I really want to continue to pursue. So watch this space. New music coming, more podcasts coming, more types of podcasts are in the post. I'm really looking forward to it, and really looking forward to engaging with people again about this kind of stuff. So if you've got any recommendations, I want to hear them. If you'd like to have a chat, I'd love to have a chat. So get in touch via Instagram at Wing Magma. Get in touch in the comments section on the YouTube channel. Make sure you are subscribing to the podcast, be that via Apple Music or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Hopefully this is the start of season 2, and hopefully I don't flake out and pack it in after one episode. Take care of yourselves, guys, and I shall speak to you very, very soon.